What if you didn't sleep and you were aware the whole time and couldn't move?
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the horrorofbabylonpodcast@gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/thehorrorofbabylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to episode 17 of the Treehouse of Horror of Babylon, where we discuss Easy-Bake Coven. I am Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Hi, Daniel.
And thank you to our patrons, who are a member of the greatest coven, including Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain,
Oh, she makes it rain the blood of children. And thank you to Horsemen, which you can visit in Salem, Massachusetts, not in the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at shop.horsemancomics.com. And if you make it into the store, say hello to Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas, who would never accuse anybody of anything. And I know that for a fact because I've had to accuse people of things on his behalf because he wouldn't do it.
He seems like a guy that might be entirely too nice for his own good.
Yes. Yes.
That has been my assessment of Rod.
Okay, so just kind of a different history thing here, but kind of what's your history with the Salem witch trials? Has it been an interest of yours or not really?
I've always been interested in it. It comes up a lot. It's on like my bucket list of places to visit. Mm-hmm. I always thought it would be interesting to do a story where it turns out that there was actual witches up there. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of the play or the book that I had to read in high school that was about the Salem witch trials.
It was probably The Witchcraft of Salem Village by Shirley Jackson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also read that. It's always been a pretty big interest of mine. I like this history podcast called Unobscured, where it's about like spooky history. And each season, they go super deep on one topic, and they do like 20 like 1 hour long episodes, and they with like interviews from like real historians, and they use primary documents, but it's always on something spooky. The first one they ever did was the Salem witch trials, which was super in depth and super cool. It was basically just like reading a book on it. That's Unobscured. The host is Aaron Mankey. They also did a season on on Jack the Ripper and lots of cool stuff like that. So recommend that. And I've always wanted to go. My better half is from New Hampshire, and we go up there at least once a year. And every year we go up there, everybody's like, "So what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I want to go to Salem." And every year I'm told, "Well, that's not a good trip for the kids. Let's wait till they're older." I'm like, "They're older. I want to go."
How much older can they get?
Apparently much older.
I'll take you, Ryan.
Yay.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Background: original air date of this episode was October 26th, 1997. It's from Treehouse of Horror 8, which is Season 9, Episode 4. Overall, it is Episode 182. It is the third of 3 segments. The first segment is The Omega Man, which is not a parody of the Omega Man. It's a story where Homer survives a nuclear war and is the only one left in Springfield. And then the second segment is Fly versus Fly, which is is a parody of The Fly, and both of those are classics. They're both very good. This episode was directed by Mark Kirkland, who has directed over 80 episodes spanning from season 1 to season 31, including classics like Behind the Laughter, The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, and Mountain of Madness, which, yes, does get its name from a certain H.P. Lovecraft story. And this episode was written by Ned Goldreyer, who also wrote for Dilbert, Grounded for Life, and Late Night with Conan O'Brien, who was also a writer on The Simpsons before he left The Simpsons to become a late night TV show host. And speaking of other famous people who were formerly on The Simpsons, this was the very last episode that Brad Bird ever worked on before he left The Simpsons to direct The Iron Giant, and then went on to become a giant of animation as a director working for Pixar, doing movies like The Incredibles.
Well, I mean, he made the best Superman movie, so...
Yeah, no, I agree. Either one of those could be the best Superman movie. Either one. I just wanted to mention the opening for this episode is particularly funny. It's the one where the Fox censor is reading through the script and making cuts, and then the ratings graphic just murders
him, yeah.
So that scene, they actually had trouble, believe it or not, they actually had trouble with Fox censor approving that.
What?
Originally, the graphic stabbed him to death with a knife, and they said it was too gruesome, so they changed it to a sword, and they found it acceptable. Which, on the face of it, sounds completely ridiculous. I guess, like, nobody really gets stabbed to death with a sword. In America, anyway, nobody gets stabbed with a sword anymore. Yes, knife violence happens, so I guess, but still, like, it's kind of silly, right?
Yeah, sorry, I yawned. That's 100% silly. I really liked it when he, like, laughed at the joke and then still went, no. Because that's so true. Like, so many of these people do find this stuff funny.
But it's their job to do it, yeah. No, it's totally funny.
No.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
So moving on to structure and themes. So typically these things are parodies of movies or books or short stories, or just like horror concepts. This is a parody of a real-life event, a horrific event where 25 innocent people were murdered.
Unless they were all actually witches.
In
which case, thank you.
Good job for killing those witches. But it just kind of got me, like, this is okay because it's, you know, we're a few hundred years removed from the actual event. Mm-hmm. But, like, there are so many, like, similar, like, tragic events today. Like, what if The Simpsons did a Treehouse of Horror parody on the Columbine shooting? Like, it's basically the same thing, except this was hundreds of years ago and Columbine was not.
Are you familiar with that? God, I'm trying to remember the name of this book series. God, it's about like a little nerdy kid who writes in a diary and he draws himself like a stick figure.
Hiya! Happy Easter!
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So I followed this YouTuber with this original channel, and he did a parody of it called Diary of a Supreme Gentleman, where he did that book, but it was about a school shooter. So I've seen it.
Stephen King did that, and he's one of the best-selling authors of all time.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny, but he also based it off of a real school shooter. So, or no, it wasn't a school shooter. It was a guy who went around trying to shoot all the beautiful women because they wouldn't sleep with him.
So he's an incel.
Yeah. He was one before that was a term.
Cool.
So.
But yeah, I just thought this was, like, you don't see a lot of these types of things on, like, real historical events. Even, like, something that's more recent, but still kind of feels removed from history, like the sinking of the Titanic could do. I mean, how far away are we from a 9/11 parody before that's okay?
It was not even 2 hours after that submarine went missing, where I saw people making parodies of it. Like, these days, people don't give a fuck. They'll just start doing shit.
Well, I think there's a difference between a meme and, like, a legit, like, Hollywood, like, parody.
Yeah, I guess. I just see people drawing porn of the shit now, so.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Okay, characters. Marge is a witch.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
What would?
What?
I'd give her my kids.
Little wooden boy.
Yeah.
I'll tell a lie. Marge is not hot. A little wooden boy. Yeah, the only thing that's weird is, like, it's just hard to picture her being, like, villainous at all. Like, her being a witch is no problem, but I just kind of picture her as, like, a nice witch.
She's Glenda the Good Witch.
Yeah, exactly. But not to say that I have an issue with it or don't like it or anything.
Yeah, I kind of like it just because it's so not Marge. She gets to indulge her in her Patty and Selma,
who fit the witch persona very well.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary shit. So what was your favorite joke and what was your least favorite joke?
My favorite joke was the Bible says a lot of things.
That is my favorite joke. I use that one in real life. That's probably one of my biggest Simpsons quotes.
The only other one that I think really came close was they're bone free, or
they're boneless,
or that'll be the day.
Yeah, those are probably my three favorites.
Worst joke. Probably Bart whenever he was trying to accuse Lisa.
Yeah, it's really on the nose, but that's absolutely what the character would do.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's funny. For me, it's Patty, I can't remember if it was Patty or Selma, but I wish I would have known you were coming. I would have baked a cat.
Yeah, that was probably, I didn't even remember that. So
yeah, it's not funny, and also, no, you will not kill a cat.
Yeah, it'll instantly be my Koontz.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Okay, so Kiss Me Fat Boy is doing a fusion with homework today, so we're doing both. What spell would you have Marge the Witch place on you?
A never-ending erection that I could use on her.
Can you imagine going through life and always having an erection?
Yes, I do all the time.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, that's why it's bad. She's a witch.
Yeah, I guess that explains why you always wear sweatpants and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, I distracted you with my erection.
Yeah. Feel how hard I am.
Feel how hard I am.
I would have her turn me into a little wooden doll that she could take off her shelf and reanimate into a man anytime she needed me. And so that would be my whole life. It's just like, all right, it's sexy time, and now I go back on my shelf and go to sleep until she needs me again. It could be years. I would never know.
What if you didn't sleep and you were aware the whole time and couldn't move?
As long as she kept me in the bed, probably be okay. If she could leave the TV on, that'd be nice.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
That's it. Yeah, that's all right. That's okay. Rankings. This one, it's not as funny as a lot of the others, but this one is super nostalgic for me. This is one of the ones I've seen the most. So it probably is going to be pretty high for me. I should have these pulled up ahead. I don't think it's better written or even necessarily funnier than Homerzilla or Death Tome, but just like this nostalgia is very, very powerful for me. I'm going to put it at number 4, below Death Tome and above Not It.
I like this. I especially just like the idea of an actual witch in Salem.
Yeah.
I appreciate them like pushing her off the cliff and she just flies back up. It's like, yeah, I'm not coming over there.
You will report back here for torture and beheading. Bible says a lot of things.
Mine's not going to be as high as yours, but it's not going to be as low as I thought it would be. Probably below Dead Ringer.
So that's your new number 8, above the Reanimator parody and below the Ring parody.
I also think that it was like very quotable.
Yeah.
So, and that goes a long way for the rankings for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be the day. It'll make us commit wanton acts of carnality. Yeah, that'll be the day. You don't see a thirsty Ned Flanders very often, but it's nice. It's nice when it happens.
I can imagine that being super frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. There was a pretty good episode where he started dating a girl after Maud died, and she was pressuring him into sex, and he gave her the whole, like, why would you buy the cow when you get the milk for free speech. He ended up giving in and totally had sex with her, though.
Hello, Mr. Stein.
Hello, Mr. Black. Who's that? He's the new drama teacher.
Zombie Day. Did you notice that Mrs. Krabappel had a scarlet letter?
I did not.
Yeah, she had a giant red A on her outfit.
Huh.
Which she's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, like, loose woman.
Okay.
In the show, like, there's lots of jokes about her, like, coming on to random people. There's also a great episode where she hooks up with Comic Book Guy. He's like, the cops come to his door after they have sex, and they're looking for her, and he's like, my beloved is currently wrapped up in my XXL Spider-Man t-shirt, and it shows her, and she's using his t-shirt as like a blanket. For further reading, I recommended Unobscured with Aaron Mahnke. It's a great podcast. If you've ever heard his podcast Lore or Cabinet of Curiosities, this is another show that he has done. And also, I had written down The Witchcraft of Salem Village by Shirley Jackson. She is a horror author who did a nonfiction book on the Salem witch trials. It's kind of intended for younger readers, but it is good. Like, I read it a couple years ago, and Daniel read it in high school. Yeah, cool. Well, speaking of being uncomfortable, thank you to our patrons. Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben, Patron of Hope. And stop muttering into your hand. You know I hate it when you mutter. Sorry, I just watched Cinderella last night. That's what she says. No, that was Tangled. I'm thinking of Tangled.
Yeah.
I watched that two nights ago. The kids got into Lorcana, and I've been playing it with them, so we've been rewatching all these movies.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's fun. Thank you to Mia the Fifth, the Wayne Maker.
The Wayne Maker.
She makes a Wayne. And thank you to Horsemen Comics Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall, Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at shop.forhorsemancomics.com. And if you make it in the store, say hello to the proprietor, Ron the Third, Grandpa's Christmas. Ron, when you hear this, I want you to record a soundbite. Tell us how hot Marge is on a scale of 1 to, oh my god, yes, and submit that so I can put it in a future episode, not this one, because that would be timey-wimey. Timey-wimey. Thank you for watching Easy-Bake Coven and recording with me.
It was actually a pretty good time.
It was indeed. Thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials, and stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.